I would like to talk about something bigger than a white mansion. I want to talk about memory. I want to talk about the names that are remembered, whose names are celebrated, and whose names are quietly erased. Throughout history, we have been taught to admire the owners of great estates, the captains of industry, the wealthy families whose names are engraved on buildings, foundations, universities, and monuments. We are taught to remember those who held the deed, signed the contracts, and sat in positions of power. But rarely are we taught to remember the people who actually built those things. When we stand before magnificent mansions, we are told the name of the family that owned it. We hear the stories about their wealth, their influence, and their accomplishments. Their portraits hang on the walls. Their names appear in history books. Yet the people who cut the timber, laid the bricks, carved the stones, forged the iron, hauled the materials, worked from sunrise to darkness, often disappear from the story. Their labor remains. Their names do not. The mansion stands. The builders vanish. And this is not simply a story about one white mansion. It is a story about a nation. In particular, this nation. America was not built by one group of people. It was built by countless hands. Farmers, laborers, craftsmen, immigrants, sharecroppers, railroad workers, factory workers, domestic workers, and enslaved people whose labor created wealth they would never enjoy. Entire fortunes were spent and built on the backs of people whose contributions were minimized, ignored, or deliberately erased. Many of them possessed extraordinary skill. They were master carpenters, master blacksmiths, master masons, master builders. They designed structures that still stand today. Yet, generations later, we know the owner's name, but not the builders. We know who inherited the wealth, but not who created it. We know who lived in that mansion, but not who raised its walls. This is not an accident. History often remembers power and forgets labor. History remembers ownership and overlooks sacrifice. History celebrates those who benefited while remaining silent about those who contributed. But truth demands something more. Truth demands that we look beyond the surface. Truth asks difficult questions. Who built it? Who paid the price? Who made the sacrifice? Who gave their time, skill, sweat, sometimes their lives to create what others would claim as their legacy? The only answers to those questions often reveal a very different story. A story of ordinary people accomplishing extraordinary things. A story of craftsmen whose talents rival the finest architects. A story of workers whose fingerprints remained embedded in the foundation of our communities. A story of families whose contributions were intentionally forgotten because acknowledging them would challenge the myth we and they have told themselves and we have told ourselves. The tragedy is not only that these people were denied recognition in their own time. The tragedy is that many generations later, we still struggle to tell their story. Their descendants walk past buildings their ancestors helped construct without ever knowing the connection. And this was no accident. You see, we were programmed to not know, but now we do, and now you know. Children learn the names of wealthy families while never hearing the names of the laborers who worked, made the wealth possible, and without learning the names of their kinfolk. Entire communities lose their sense of history because someone decided that certain names were more important than others. But there's another side to this story. The truth has a way of surviving. Sometimes it survives in old photographs and forgotten records, family stories passed down around the kitchen tables, in weathered documents hidden in attics, basements, archives, under houses, under trees. And when that truth is rediscovered, something powerful happens. The forgotten become visible. The erased become remembered. The silent find their voice. Recognition does not change the past. It does not erase injustice. It does not restore lost opportunities. But it does restore dignity, and dignity matters. Every person deserves to have their contribution acknowledged. Every worker deserves respect. Every builder deserves recognition. Every community deserves an honest account of its history, unless that history was stolen. Because if it was stolen, you have nothing to replace it with. Because history is strongest when it is complete, not when it flatters the powerful, not when it protects comfortable myths. But when it tells the truth is the greatest achievement, or rarely the work of one person. They are the truth of many people working together. The truth is the wealth often rests upon foundation built by others. The truth is that progress comes from countless individuals whose names may never appear in textbooks, but whose labor shaped the world around us. And we know those textbooks will not be published, not today. So when we look at a mansion, a city skyline, a university, a railroad, a business empire, or even the nation itself, our own White House, let us ask a different question. Not simply who owned it, but who built it. You know. Who received the credit, but who earned it? Who is remembered, but who is forgotten? Because when we ask those questions, we begin to restore something far more important than a building. We restore truth. We restore dignity. We restore history. And in doing so, we honor the countless men and women whose hands built the foundations upon which all of us stand. And this is what those that are in power are most afraid of. The contributions of people that look like me. The history told to me about my people, my kinfolks, what they built, what they contributed, and they never enjoyed. But let me tell you something. For all you educated people, a hint should be sufficient. You can tell a European all of his history, and you know not one name in Europe.